Rewinding a few years, my life was actually completely different. I actually was a teacher and had quite a full-on stressful job teaching. I had 2 young children, and I went through quite a difficult kind of period in my life where my marriage broke down and I was full-time teaching. It was actual chaos. And looking back, I think, how did I actually do it? So full-time parenting, full-time teaching, going through a 5-year-long divorce, and it was just kind of relentless, really. And there just came a point, I think it was probably about 2020 maybe-ish, and just when things couldn't get any better for me. Be locked in the house with 2 children every single day. Exactly. And I just thought, I looked at my life, there were a few things that kind of triggered it, and I just looked at my life and thought, is this what I want my life to look like? Of course, the answer was a resounding no, because it was, I just didn't have no social life. Everything was really tough. And so I already had that idea in my head that I needed to make some changes. And I thought, and I definitely realised that nobody's going to come swooping in and make those changes for me. I'm an adult, I'm in my 40s, I've got 2 young kids, and it's about what can I do? And I think the first thing that I started, there was no real kind of light bulb moment. I'm just going to, at the beginning, it was not like, I know I'm going to be a professional copywriter. I just was like, but I knew I needed to do something differently. I've always been quite creative. I was an English teacher, so I've always kind of loved writing and being creative and all that kind of stuff. And I used to work in sales before I was a teacher, so I kind of had that background as well. So that all helped. I think initially I was thinking perhaps, I don't know, I could write my novel, or I will just exploring ideas where I could use writing or creativity. And then, as the universe tends to do, I started seeing Filthy Rich Writer adverts on my Facebook. As I know, it's just seeping in there. And I was like, oh, and I'll be completely honest, and I think you've probably heard this before, but I just thought, well, those ads just look a bit too good to be true. I was like, maybe it's a scam. And, you kind of start exploring it. And then I'd also around the same time, because this was all obviously just very much in my head at the time. I hadn't really explored it with anybody. It was just a process that I was going through internally. And it was probably over a few months, really. And then I just happened to be, weirdly, it's someone I've known since I was 15. And I was like, I should really have known what he did for a living, but I didn't really. And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking of getting into this thing called copywriting. And he was like, oh yeah, you should definitely do that. Anyway, it turned out he's quite a high-end web designer and he works with copywriters all the time. I thought, oh, so he actually told me more about it than I already knew.
Yeah.
So then I was kind of like, right, do I buy this course? I think I probably had a couple of glasses of wine and then bought it. So I kind of just started putting it out there. And like I said, my friend Chris, who's a web designer, he was like, well, I've got some websites if you want to. I did one. He had one that was already done. He said, I can show you how to use WordPress and not designing or anything like that, but I can show you how to put copy on and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was one of my first things. And then I was talking about in the hairdressers and someone said, oh, well, I want some blogs writing. So I think it was just that in the beginning, just those little scrappy bits of work that then I got them and I thought, I don't know what I'm doing, but I had them there. And so, so that's kind of where I got started, probably about 2.5 years ago. And so that was kind of my transition. But I just think, as soon as I got that idea in my head that I need to do something different with my life, and then it was there, that seed was planted, and it was like, well, what is that going to look like? And what steps can I take to kind of make something happen? And I just thought, when I broke it down like that and thought, the reality of it is I've got another 20 years, 2 decades of living a life and having a career, and do I really want to kind of just spend every day just kind of filling time? Do you know what? I was thinking about this earlier. It was that I don't want to be melodramatic about it because it does sound a bit melodramatic. I cannot put into words just how transformational both becoming a copywriter and obviously the CCA's involvement in that has been. My life is, everyone just thinks I'm a bit insane because I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I wake up in the morning, I've got a smile on my face. I go up, I bang on about walking all the time online because I get up in the morning at about 5:30 in the morning and I go on a big long walk every day. The kids are teenagers now, so I've got a bit more freedom. My time is my own. I go to the gym a lot and I walk a lot and I see friends all the time. I would say my income is probably about double of what it was when I was teaching. But I probably work about a third of the hours, probably in terms of actual work, not just sitting on LinkedIn all day. In terms of actual work, where I'm actually thinking, right, I have to get my head down and do this. 30%. and I might think, well, I'm going to work on Saturday, but I'm going to take Monday to Wednesday off. I just feel such a sense of freedom.
Good.
I feel completely liberated. And also, this also sounds a bit dramatic, but it really isn't. I think because I've done that, I just feel really empowered. So if something comes along where it's like, well, actually, could you do that? Like whereas even though I might have a bit of resistance, like the old kind of voice in the head, but actually really what I'm really thinking is, yeah, of course I can. I can do, I can definitely do that, because I think it's when you look back and think, look what I've already done. And when I look at how it does make me feel quite emotional. When I look at what my life was like 5 years ago to how it is now, it's like a different world. But it's amazing because my kids now, I know that my kids look at me and they see what I've done.
Yeah.
So from going through a really difficult time when they were 6 and 9, when the family broke down, and now they're 15 and 17, and Felix is going off to university next year, and I'm like, they're both thriving, and I know that they're old enough to recognise and see. They're not babies anymore. They can see, and I think it's been really, really wonderful to know that I've been a positive role model for them as well. Actually,
Absolutely.
when I look back now, it's like, oh, look what I've done. Obviously, when you're going through it, it's all a bit like, oh, I'll do this. But it's when you look at it holistically, look back and just think, oh, this is how I feel when I wake up every morning, and this is what I get to do every day. And you realise, I think sometimes when you're in a dark place or when life's difficult, if you feel like that's your ultimate goal, I feel that could be a bit too overwhelming, because you're like, well, it's so far away from where I am. And so my thing was, at the beginning, it was like, well, what can I do? I need to do one thing to feel like I'm in control. And it was actually just getting up and going for a walk every morning. And that kind of was like, what's one habit? Well, if I can do that, I can do this. And it's the same with the copywriting. It's like, just do one thing, just do one piece, do one post on LinkedIn, do one post on the CCA, whatever it is in the business. And it's just keep doing those things. And then what happens is you start to see the positive changes, and you recognize it's because I did those things every day. Look what's happened. So yeah, and it's just a bit of a bigger scale now. Then you start seeing the results. It's just, I think, focus on the actions and the habits. And then the results just kind of start to evolve as a result of that naturally. Thanks so much for all your support over the years and for everything you've done with the CCA. It's really made such a big difference to my life.